Welcome everyone to Understanding the 90-Day Reset, and join with me today is the amazing Laura Jacobs with over 30 years in the wellness space. She's going to share her wisdom with you today. And the goal of today is to help you to really understand what is the 90-Day Reset. How does it work? How does it support your health? And we're actually going to break it down month by month so you can very clearly understand what the goal of is each month of the 90-Day Reset. So welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to dive into this with you. So how would you explain very simply, you have a really beautiful analogy of what is the 90-Day Reset?
I love it. The word reset was chosen to indicate the resetting of one's bioterrain. And the best way to understand that is to use a garden analogy. And I like to personalize that because a couple of years ago, I didn't garden that year. And the thing got radically out of control. Because in other words, why would somebody need to reset their terrain? Could we grow weeds, metaphorically speaking, in our body? And the answer is yeah, we could grow weeds. Instead of just chucking something in the weed pile and thinking that's going to make a difference, instead we want to reset the terrain, or maybe how you could think of it as your soil, so that you're in the position to grow the wellness that you desire and harvest the health priorities and goals that you've set forth for yourself.
All right, so give us a visual. What did your garden look like after you didn't take care of it for a year?
Somewhat like not taking care of your body, right? So it was radically full of weeds, like embarrassingly full of weeds. They were prolific.
Yeah.
Absolutely prolific.
I think most of us, when we walk outside and we see a garden full of weeds, we're like, I'm going to turn around and go back inside. That looks like
work.
Too much work. So how did you get into it? Is it just go out there and like muscle through it for like 10 hours?
Well, interestingly enough, maybe I was motivated for the same reason somebody might be motivated to wrangle their health. And that is, I was with a friend who's a master gardener, and she just happened to drop this line. Did you know that your fall garden determines the condition of your spring garden? And I literally audibly gasped as I'm like, I'm in serious trouble. So I said to my assistant, will you help me? And so we went out there and we muscled it for 3.5 hours and wrangled the darn thing. But what was so poignant for me was to understand the process. And so weeds galore, Utah soil, clay-like, hard, wasn't a moist day. It was in October and there hadn't been any rain. And I just was going at it, and I could not get the weeds to budge. I could not. Okay, I was pulling the heads of them off, but that's not a good idea. You need to get the root balm, which again is a great metaphor. And so I went and got a claw, and I started to claw the soil and loosen it up. And then honestly, the weeding was magnificent. I felt kind of superhuman. It was like, I'm a machine, I've got this. But without the claw, it wasn't the same experience. And so that combination of loosening the soil and then being able to wrangle those weeds, and then the result 3.5 hours later was so gratifying. It was beautiful.
It was a beautiful, clean terrain.
It was.
I love it. When we talk about this 90-day reset, I know someone's going to ask, does it really take 90 days? Could you do all of that work and grow a new garden in a very short period of time? Would that be possible?
Well, the answer isn't inherent in the question.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever grown anything, the answer is no, you can't rush things. An avocado takes over 8 months to develop, right? And then other things, we've all sprouted something, as a little kid, you grew a seed and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so accomplished because something sprouted in a couple of days. I think what's really cool is if we look at actual cell turnover in the body and the process of cell renewal, your stomach and gut lining cells renew every 4 to 5 days. Your skin cells every 28. Your cellular mitochondria renew every 2 to 3 months. And your red blood cells renew every 120 days. So you're literally building a new you every 3 months. And this rapid renewal is crucial for not only your overall health, but your repair and function. And it's actually critical to our ability to withstand wear and tear and to combat the things that none of us want to have happen in our bodies.
Okay, so we understand the purpose. We understand that it needs to take 90 days and how our body actually functions in renewing itself. So can I review with you real quick the point of each month?
Yes,
perfect.
for sure.
So month 1, we're building a routine. How many of us can say on a daily basis we've prioritized nutrition and cellular function?
Most people are like, wait, can you repeat that? I'm supposed to prioritize what?
Right, because we're too busy, American
Yes.
lifestyle, right? Second, we're maintaining a rhythm. We're making sure that our bodies, here's who's welcome and here's who's not, and we does it over and over again.
Establishing
that
boundaries.
terrain. Yeah, boundaries, I like it.
Yes.
And then month 3 is building lifestyle.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful.
Cool. So we didn't get to a condition where we are looking at a full reset overnight. It's years.
Well, here's the crux. This is the thing that's really presented in the conversation of the 90-day reset is there's a story at hand here, okay? And there's a problem, and the problem is that people generally don't feel well. There's a villain in our story. It's the modern world, and the modern world has offered us a plenty of ultra-processed food, and we are literally surrounded and also bathed in entering our bodies from every which way. Environmental toxins are rampant. And so with ultra-processed foods, we're then going to find ourselves in a position of deficiency, and we are. And with the toxins, we're finding ourselves in a position of toxicity. And if those two things aren't reckoned with, then you're always going to be at square one.
Yeah, I think it was a couple months ago you shared that great statistic, and it was research that was done. It was on newborn babies' umbilical blood. And a baby is born with over 230 something industrial chemicals were found in umbilical cord blood. So I think for anybody, it's like, no, I think I do things pretty good. I think I'm pretty clean. If from birth we have exposure, we have to be aware of being more picky about what we bring into our environment, and then supporting our body, because that is a heavy load for it to lift consistently.
It is, absolutely. And so I think it's important if we understand kind of the why behind it, that my job as the captain of my wellness ship is I've got to ensure that my body consistently has enough of what it needs to operate successfully, and I've got to protect it and ensure that not only is the worldly toxins flowing through me leaving kindly, but also that I'm preventing them from entering my space to begin with. And those two things will never go away.
So I love this quote is, the question is, what are you rebuilding your body with? So you went back and you told us how fast our body is doing this turnover. And so for most of us, like, well, I'm getting reset anyways. But during that reset period, if we're not being intentional with the decisions we're making, we're rebuilding with maybe not the best seeds into the garden. So I just love that.
You know, with your earlier line of questioning and what you've just said, I think what might be useful is oftentimes, you know, we don't really want to think about the operations of it. Maybe you don't want to know about how often your red blood cells are turning over. You don't have to worry about it. So what's wonderful about being part of a program where other people are that conscious for you. Think of a crew of us as sitting in the eagle's nest, and we've got the binoculars and we're keeping an eye. We know what's coming. We know what to anticipate. We know what you need. We know what's required, and we're just asking you to take a little bit of ownership for some wellness literacy. And if you'll master, I've got to get enough of the right stuff and I can't have too much of the wrong stuff, that what's inherent in the program, as you brought up these three phases and you mentioned establishing daily habits, that's part of the first phase, is establishing the habit of getting enough and not too much of the wrong stuff, and getting those things operational. So I like to think of it as an order of operations in the program. And so what we're doing for you in its purpose, and then you're going to do the work by engaging, is energizing your cells and your organs to function and perform better. So I was digging the claw through the soil so that the soil would perform better, so then I could weed, because in month 2 we're going to weed. And so inherent in the program, by design, the products that are selected, how it's bundled together, is you're going to energize your soil and organs to performance. That's month 1.
So actually, can we dive a little bit more into month 1? So we're establishing daily habits. We're learning consistent supplementation. Why is this one important, consistent supplementation? What are we seeing habits that people are having to overcome?
Well, we're combating, again, the villain, right? If you want to become the hero of your story, you've got to reckon with the wrecking ball of the world traveling through you every single day. You know, I read a study about ultra-processed food, and it was kind of staggering. I'm 62 at time of filming, and my age group were the best eaters. And guess how much ultra-processed food we eat? Only 51.7% of our diet. The worst offenders were those ages 6 to 12. Yeah, we all know what they're like when they eat. And they were eating 66% of their diet of ultra-processed foods. You are not going to become nutritionally fit. It's literally impossible. And so in month 1, we're earning the right to perform. That's really the whole thing. Again, we're energizing cells and organs to performance, and then we're taking that capacity to perform then next level in phase 2 and so on.
Okay, let's paint some of the experience someone would expect in month 1. Some maybe benefits or maybe some blocks that you're like, hey, these are things to be aware of that might come up, and this is how you might handle them.
Well, this is sort of the telling time. Month 1 and 2 is when you get to find out just how fit your personal terrain is. So some people come more ready to roll, and others are going to discover some things about themselves. And so bowel activity tends to be the center of the conversation here. And certain products have been selected to help optimize that behavior. And sometimes we need some enhancement. So we might have one person saying, wow, my bowels slowed down more than I expected. And another might say, mine sped up. And then I have others like that are literally shouting from the rooftops, their bowels have never been better. Yeah. And so if you're finding yourself in a position where they're moving too fast, well, that's actually good news, because that means fluid, water, bile, things are reaching your gut in new ways and creating more motility. You just need the capacity to pick that production up, which means you need more fiber, for example. And where another person might be like, well, things have really slowed down for me, then hydration may have become actually far more effective. Your water is now making it to your cells more effectively than ever. And so maybe you need to up your electrolytes and up your hydration, drinking more water to match your body's new level of utilization. If I got to throw down one thing, however, that's my all-time favorite, it's enzymes. So my number one recommendation to add on to or enhance the original 5 core products to month 1 is our Terrazyme product. It's actually in our top 15 best-selling products consistently because people love it, because it's very, very effective. And so if you find yourself, hey, maybe not as fit as you would prefer, or you already know that your gut and its performance level is something you'd like to enhance, then that Terrazyme is a highly recommended companion to really enhance that performance, because gut performance is number 1. That's really what we're after, along with the cells in month 1.
Okay, so let's establish what good and healthy is, because if someone measures themselves as going maybe once a week and all of a sudden they're going 3 times a week and they're like, this is the most I've ever gone, then we're evaluating off kilter. So what would be a healthy number of bowel movements that they should be measuring off of?
Well, they typically say, well, bowel transit time should be about 12 hours. So every time you eat, 12 hours later, there could be a movement. But we really hold a standard if we'd like to see you moving 2 times a day. Perfect. Because then you're in a position of really having the proper flow through the body. And I have spoken with people who entered into this program and were literally like once a week people, and they're having an entirely new experience, which is so fun for them to see their bodies perform at next level, which is exciting.
It's a relief for them, for their gut. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what are some other tips? So you mentioned fiber. We mentioned hydration. Do you have any favorite products that help support hydration?
Yes, I love our Recharge product because hydration is critically paired with electrolytes. And our Recharge product is armed for exactly the purpose of helping water molecules get where they need to go in the body, along with the minerals to create the charge that we want in the body. And it's just a fantastic pairing. So again, one of my absolute favorite complementary add-on products would be our Recharge electrolytes.
Perfect. I love that. And then we have 2 other products in addition to Foundational Wellness. We have our Revitazen Complex and Mito2 Max. Do you want to give some suggestions on how much they should consider taking?
Yes, and you know, again, everybody's not coming to this with the same level of fitness. So the Mito2 Max is designed to address mitochondrial performance. So those are little engines that could in your cells, and it not only helps to optimize performance from what exists, but it also helps to enhance the proliferation of the mitochondria. And so typically people think, oh, it's an energy product, I need to then take it only in the first portion of the day. But many of us experience energy dips in the afternoon. So we have a tracker that's available for every person. You'll want the tracker so your usage model is laid out for you. And the Mito2 Max is recommended 1 to 2 times a day, depending on the person. So you know you. If you have a particular time, like everybody loves having more energy in the morning, so pop a Mito2 Max in the morning. If you have an afternoon need, I would prefer you hit it in the afternoon than at bedtime, at dinner time. Generally don't recommend something like the Mito2 Max at later in the day than that, right? It's not a bedtime product, but it is there to help. Again, it's all about firing up the cells. And so it is the crowning product to aim yourself at cellular performance.
Perfect. So you mentioned we have the principles laid out, but there is customization. So let's go back to Foundational Wellness. We have a lot of our imagery is around VMG Plus, E Omega Plus, PB Restore. What if someone has been on LLV for a really long time and they're like, please don't take my LLV from me?
Hey, it's an option, right? When I first built this program, there was no such thing as VMG. It was LLV, and we saw striking results from that pairing. And so we've We've created different options. We've got vegan options. We've got LLV versus VMG. They all work. They're all wonderful. And again, we want you to customize and cater this to your needs, to your liking, to your dosing habits. Some people like the drink. Some people prefer pills. They all work. They're all a possibility. Okay, so Revitazen is designed to be, I like to call it one and done. That's the dosing model on the label. But like the Mito 2 Max, there might be a person who occasionally wants to ramp up that approach. I'm one of those people. I'm very well versed in how my body functions. I love to detox like regularly. So I'm like, hey, why not? I'm gonna go all out with this product. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna try it. The typical dosing is 1, but on the tracker, you're going to see these variations on theme, where with Mito 2 Max, there's room to play. With the Revitazen, there's room to play. And then like measure, like what are your results? What are you looking for? And if you want to enhance that, then you can enhance your consumption of those products accordingly.
Perfect. I love the customization. Okay, so now month 2. What are some of the goals of month 2?
So month 2 is our pull the weeds. This is now we've got ourselves where the soil and everything, the organs performing. So we're ready to go, and we're ready to help the body take the stimulation of elimination and detoxification next level, and to really offload waste. Anything from metabolic waste on a cellular level to things that might be hanging out in your intestinal tract, whatever the case is. And so we've got a multiplicity of partners. The Revitazen pulls through from month 1 into month 2. It's a staple. We also now add its partner oil blend, and highly recommend consuming that in water or a capsule under the tongue multiple times a day to do more targeting of those eliminative organs, along with our GX Assist product, which is very gut oriented. And it's about, taking control of your occupants, right, of your gut, things of that nature, and then a very systemic targeted approach with the DDR. It's very much, again, a cellular approach and also a systemic approach. Really powerful products that are loaded with essential oils as the backbone of each of those formulations.
Okay, just for the visual, can we go back to the garden? And the role of month 2 is share your experience of if you had taken those heirloom seeds and put them in a different place.
Yeah, so often what I find people doing, and I've been in the industry for so long, I ran a wellness center forever, and I would see kind of this thing where people, what's typical today is you're going to watch a YouTube video, and maybe if you don't have a paid subscription, you're going to get interrupted with a commercial, and you're going to have some person claiming to be an expert, and they're going to tell you, you need this product, it's a one bullet wonder, and you buy it, and you think it's going to change everything. So you throw it in your terrain. So if I throw heirloom seeds on that garden for real, what could I really expect as an outcome? It was already crazy enough in there. What am I going to have random cool plants growing amongst the weeds if they can even, fight for soil and light? That's not an intelligent approach. And so we're weeding the garden, we're clearing the space, the soil, the terrain in the body. So then when those seeds enter, then I'm in the position to grow something here. I'm in the position to harvest something here. And so there's a timing to each product to do the role. You're not in the position to weed until you till the soil.
Yeah.
You're really not in the position to grow until you weed. And so everything is done, again, in an order of operations.
Okay. What are some tips that you would have for month 2? I know you mentioned GX Assist, and you've given some tips previously. What tips do you have in month 2 for?
And GX Assist and PB is probably the number one question I get as far as consumption, because the jury's out on the blending of those two products, simply because their goals are different and seemingly opposite. We don't want them to compete with each other. So we typically recommend that the PB Restore is consumed earlier in the day, maybe with first thing in the morning. People love that, or with their breakfast. And then let's bring in the GX Assist separated from that for a couple hours. And noon and evening meals are optimal for GX Assist. And really the goal is to get upwards of 2 and 3 of those a day in there to really get the benefits that are desired and to really reckon with the territory in the way that you're hoping for.
Okay, and if they have a really strong experience with GX Assist, what tips do you have?
Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to help you fall in love with GX Assist. It's a fantastic formulation. I've spoken with experts, industry experts, both in and outside of doTERRA, who just really sing the praises of this formulation. Not only are there very, very powerful essential oils in there, there's also caprylic acid, and it brings some tremendous value to the formulation, one of which is to draw more water into the intestinal tract, another of which would be something like bile and so on. There's a number of things that are occurring. If you don't have the proper amount of fiber to receive, so again, it's all about terrain fitness, are you capable of receiving the output that's now been created? And if you're not fibered enough, then you might find yourself in a more uncomfortable, maybe even a nauseated position. It's so easily overcome with something as simple as a couple slices of an apple. Just absolutely does the trick. We also have a fantastic fiber product, and just taking that regularly and, at a similar timing can also be marvelously resolving of that discomfort, because again, it's just a matter of the right pairing. This product is generating this activity. Are you ready for it? You'll know by how you feel, and then you'll be signaled by your body. It will tell you, I need more fiber.
Perfect.
To receive the goodness of what's happening here.
Yeah. Okay. Want to dive into month 3?
Great.
What are the goals of month 3?
So now we've weeded. Now the soil's cleared. And I remember again, after doing that in my garden, just looking over the whole thing and thinking, wow, now we got a fresh start, right? And that's really what we want you feeling. I will say this, that as you're coming out of months 1 and 2, that one of the most gratifying parts of the experience is we encourage you to start the whole process with our lifestyle assessment. And the reason for that is we want you to be measuring where you are, because you can't manage what you don't measure. We want you to see the progress, right, of your progressive experience. And so what's really gratifying is I tell people at that 60-day mark, I want you to look back, and generally speaking, we hear from people that about 60% of the things on their to-do list, they've checked it off. Why? Because all we needed was more of the right stuff and to ensure the body got rid of the wrong stuff. And so a lot of the foul play in your body, shall we say, is just clues. It's just your body throwing clues that, hey, signal, just like we talked about with the GX. I'm just signaling you, I need more fiber, thank you. Can you help out with that? So by month 3, it's kind of like the dust settles and you kind of have this ability to take your temperature and see where you are. And you're like, wow, I feel really accomplished here. And what's neat is now what's isolated for you is you're more, like as you look under the hood again, you're like, okay, it's more clear to me maybe what my key projects or priorities are, and you can really hone in on that through what we call targeted solutions. But what we're funding primarily, and we call it watering and fertilizing in month 3, is we're funding your body's ability to be in a renewing, a replenishing, a restorative mode. So by continuing our foundational products, it's again, like it takes 8 months for an avocado. It takes 120 days for red blood cells. So we're continuing to pour the VMG and the omegas in there, now complementing that with the collagen product, which is loaded with key building block amino acids. It's triggering longevity genes and putting you in this building mode like nobody's business. And again, because you've relieved your body of burdens, you're in this place to really focus yourself on growing wellness and harvesting your health.
Okay, so you just mentioned one of our absolute favorite products, and somebody might be watching this and be like, I've been on Advantage for a year. Are you telling me I have to stop before I get started on this 90-day reset?
And I love that people are so obedient that they would look at the chart and they're like, wait, it's not there. Do I need to stop it? And at that point, you're no longer a novice. You've been doing this for a while. Your body is acclimated to a lot of these amazing, amazing products and heroes and partners that you've brought in. There's no reason to stop that or any other targeted solutions you've found value in because you're already into this thing. We're kind of facing forward to the person who's maybe new to this. And so out of kindness, we're all about optimizing utilization. And so you're going to be in a better position of utilization in month 3 because you tilled the soil, because you did your weeding. Now utilization is optimized, and we want to be respectful of the investments that you're making so you get the most. I mean, I could just reduce it to get the best bang for your buck, right? Yeah. But for those who are beyond that, there's no reason to rewrite that script and acquiesce to a more starting point, but decide for yourself,
I love it. Okay, so what about after month 3? Is their doTERRA journey finished?
And again, I love this position. Now we're 90 days in. You have this opportunity to look back and look ahead, and I can't stress enough that I like to call it an after-action review. Like, what's happened here? Where am I? Take that lifestyle assessment again. See where you are, because again, now that the dust has settled, it's going to be very, very clear to you. If you have some projects remaining, it'll be much more clearly defined because you've given your body what it needed prolifically for 3 months. You're seeing how it responds now that it's got the fuel that it requires. You're seeing how it's responding now that your gut has had the support it requires. You're doing the proper cleansing. you've stimulated the eliminative processes. So now where are you? And so we have these amazing tools and assets that if you're a customer and you're listening to this conversation and you have not yet been equipped, ask your wellness advocate how to get your hands on our monthly guides, because the guides will introduce you again to your partners and help you understand why each product is in the position that it's in when it's there. And along with that, there's a tracker. But in the month 3 guide, there is not only the guidance you need for month 3, but there's also a follow-up conversation on how would you then choose into building your own maintenance program. How would you make the decision of what stays, what's no longer needed, what you'd want to enhance it with, and then a tracker there for you that you can fill in and curate your own program. But the bottom line is your need for the right stuff will never go away. Your need to have proper detoxification pathway opening along with elimination will never go away. And so it's not like we're done. It's that now we're in a much better elevated position to, again, grow our wellness and harvest our health. And we're going to need to maintain. It's like your car. Can you just say to your car, I'm done buying gas for you, so I think now you should just run on fumes? Well, that's not even common sense. The same with the body is it'll always require certain things. And so you're going to want to determine what that is for you. And of course, we've got recommendations for that about what you'll want to make your through line to maintain the wellness and to continue to optimize your ability to live with a sense of tremendous well-being. One of the most humbling things for me to offer is that as a practitioner and somebody who's an expert in this wellness industry for over 3 decades, I've seen a lot of things in my days. I've read more labels than you can count. I've built over 20,000 protocols for different individuals, which is tasking, by the way. There's a lot of time that goes into individualizing a protocol for any one given person. To be in the position to sit here with you in utter confidence that we have a protocol for the masses is a confidence you probably can't appreciate, perhaps without the perspective. But it's only possible because of doTERRA's unbelievable capacity for formulation. These products they're staggeringly wonderful to me because, again, I know products. And to have the confidence that I can partner the common sense of how the program is wired, knowing that the products will deliver the performance that we're seeking, I just want to add my witness to, I want you to understand the level of credibility here. It's incredible. And the products aren't broken, the program's not broken, but sometimes our terrains are. And so be patient with yourself. If you find yourself running into a little bit of, more movement in your bowels or less or whatever, be patient. There's nothing wrong here other than your body's throwing signals of, hey, I could use more fiber. Hey, I could use more water, and receive that, embrace it. These products are helping you get in that alignment with your body functioning and are there to help you live on an entirely different level of wellness. It's incredible.
Love it. Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to break this down with us and really paint a vision for people for their long-term wellness and everything that doTERRA really has to offer, and really the encouragement of becoming more empowered in your health and taking your health into your own hands, listening to your body, being willing to customize the 90-day reset to work for you. And we hope that you are able to feel more empowered in every decision you make over the next 90 days.